All right, chat. Back in record time. Travis has quickly ported over our secondary match.
And looks like Amulet is up a game, and we're playing against Jeskai with, I think, Lotus Field.
Yes. Kind of wild that Amulet is up a game here. Blood Sun, very good against the Amulet Titan deck. Like, very, very good. It looks like we've already had one Blood Sun hit the bin, courtesy of Boseiju. And it looks like that happened before Joseph was able to play the Lotus Field in hand, although just ripped another Blood Sun off the top. So as long as Joseph can survive one more turn, should be looking to be in good shape for this game.
Oh, that's a very nervous-y turn, too.
Yeah, it feels like we came in at just the right time here. Kelly one short of dropping a Titan here. And Joseph, rather than waiting to get full value off the Wear Terror, just going to fire it off against the Amulet. I'm a little surprised that we're not trying to just drive that value home the next turn and grab that Dryad as well.
Yeah, I tend to get pretty greedy with my Wear Tears, especially when you can use both sides. But I don't quite know the context of the hands when we just sit down in the middle of the game. But this always feels good.
Did Joseph draw off that Blood Sun?
No, I'm not a big.
Yeah, let's get a reminder there. Might not matter here. Joseph's just so very happy. So very happy to be dropping a Blood Sun and not having it get destroyed. Just forgot to draw there. The interesting thing about Blood Sun in this matchup, and the reason why the draw trigger was on my mind, is the draw trigger makes it so Kelly would have the chance to respond to the Blood Sun ETBing before Joseph would be able to drop the free Lotus Field land drop. So I was thinking if Kelly had a Force of Vigor or potentially another Boseiju, the time to do it would be on the draw trigger for the Blood Sun to keep Joseph from getting that Lotus Field out there for free.
Yeah, definitely. And that's like something like that's pretty heads up play where Joseph is all but counting on being able to deploy that Lotus Field. So that's those little like minute lines that you can figure out to constrain your opponents on resources. It could be a difference maker in these really like tight games.
Backup Blood Sun, I think, is actually going to be a big game here as well from Joseph. Going to cast a Natty Primetime into the Cryptic command. Feels good if you're Joseph. Feels bad if you're Kelly. I don't know how we're casting that Dismember, but we're gonna let that go here.
Yeah, if we notice, we could have a table judge, but we don't quite have all those resources. If there's a really egregious play, we'll go out and correct it. But players are responsible for their own game states, and that's something.
We're observers.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get one extra mana, because I believe that we might have had Kelly forget and try and use Castle Garenbrig there, but Garenbrig does not. I mean, there's a Blood Sun out there, so can you? I don't think you can use.
Let's pull up Castle. I haven't read that card in a while.
Let me pull up Blood Sun.
A Blood Sun is all lands lose all abilities except for mana abilities.
Oh, so because Castle's ability is a mana ability. Fascinating. Okay.
I thought you were a Tron player, Ian. You know, I feel
You
feel
mean
a little
a
bit
Titan
or Titan
player?
player. Oh, you're a Titan player, Ian.
I stand corrected.
Sorry, I'd never. I'm sorry. I would never call you a Tron player except on accident. Not that there's anything wrong with playing Tron. I feel like all deck choices are valid. All right, we're gonna pact here. Pact on the stack, I should say. I feel like this is less of a problem these days because most of the Titan lists are known quantities. But a couple of years ago, if in Tron or in against Titan, I've made the mistake of not countering the pact when I had a counter spell, and then they'll get something uncounterable. But I don't think that Titan decks these days are playing uncounterable threats, you know, except for ones that you get because you have Cavern of Souls.
So there's Castle Garenbrig card in question.
I think it's interesting to play out the second Blood Sun because then you're opening yourself up to Force of Vigor getting a 2-for-1, but that it helps you against one. Well, I guess you can't really get Besaju'd because the channel ability is not a mana ability.
I don't think Blood Sun can keep that from being true in your hand.
Does it say lands in play? No, yeah, that would in fact turn off the channel ability.
All land.
So I feel like the second Blood Sun is basically just opening yourself up to Force of Vigor, but maybe Joseph really needed to draw an extra card.
Man, that is wild. Blood Sun is a wild card. So, okay, question. Cavern of Souls' ability to make something uncounterable is a mana ability.
You know what we're going to do, Ian, if we continue this conversation, is we're going to embarrass ourselves.
Well, I'm putting it out to chat. Oh, Gatherer ruling. Land cards not on the battlefield aren't affected.
Wait, look at this resource we have, the Hive Mind.
Okay. So, if Cavern enters with the Blood Sun out, you can't name anything. Oh, interesting. So if it already... Wow. So if it already has that and has been played, it still does its thing. That is fantastic. I mean, in either case, it looks like Joseph has this game in the bag, and we'll get to see game 3.
Okay, finally, our backup match paid dividends there. That was,
yeah.
I feel like I've been getting a backup match every round, and they've finished before a feature match.
Just had to find Tron Affinity.
I'm so rusty. Like I used to be, I used to judge a lot of Magic, but I lost my certification when they switched over to the new judge program and then didn't really play during the pandemic. So I definitely feel like I run up against my ignorance more than I'm used to these days.
I'm pretty much always right up there.
Yeah,
against my ignorance.
I wasn't gonna talk about that, but all right. Looks like we tied it up.
Going to a game 3.
I recently got the cards. I play a lot of Jeskai. Jeskai Control has been one of my favorite decks. I like that color combination. I play it on Legacy. I just got the cards for this Lotus Field Control deck and have yet to sleeve it up.
You're excited for it.
I am excited for it. I feel like the context of your early turns are going to be really different because you can't play a lot of multicolored cards necessarily, especially if they cost 3 mana, and you're setting yourself up more for payoffs of using a lot of mana. So I'm curious how it's going to be on the draw versus something like Titan.
We actually have kind of an entirely new setup as far as the camera angles are concerned. So we're still kind of dialing things in. We have some little shuffle hand cams. You know, just trying to work on continually making things a little bit better. There's going to be some bumps in the road along the way, but I appreciate the feedback.
Growing pains, but in the end we're growing. Can we get the other hand cam up? Let's do a little switch. Whoa. Oh my gosh, look at that. Crazy. Yeah. But we're working on the overhead setup. It's new to us, and we're still like dialing in all the camera angles and effects and stuff like that.
And the glare, you know, wouldn't you know, glare's a thing. And when you shoot at an angle, it's easier to deal with, and it's a lot harder to deal with when you shoot straight overhead. Turns out the people that do magic streaming for like CFB and Star City are all really smart people, and who knows where they're at now.
Usually have a lot of resources too. Did have a lot of resources. All right, turn one Amulet, pretty good. You know what? I don't see a lot of anymore except for Cascade or Living Index, Force of Negation. Feels like the pitch elementals sort of took over the 2-for-1ing yourself free card spot.
Yeah, you can't ephemerate a Force of Negation.
That feels like a spell that could be printed in the next 2 years.
Agreed. This is the kind of start you're looking for if you're Kelly here.
I think a plus of being a little bit zoomed out is we get to see more of the players' hands, but the downside is you can read the cards less on Battlefield. We're trying to find some nuance.
So, if Joseph can't present something useful, as long as Kelly has a Titan available in hand, there's going to be a Titan next turn. So I think Joseph reads the writing on the wall, knows that the name of the game is surviving. Surviving until the Blood Sun can come down. And I think this is a smart play, although I don't really know why the Solitude had to come out there. I feel like it could have come out main phase or whenever. Pretty sure Damon is the first. I have the wrong tape. Oh, yes. Damon is, in fact, first name. My mistake.
This is what
Thank you, chat.
Yeah, it helps having some locals in the chat. Right.
I'm not at my mid-season form yet.
Yeah, you just got back from being on a couple weeks break from doing the stream. I was having to carry the whole load on my back. All right, there's a Blood Sun. And which, you know, even if Damon has Boseiju, that sort of like presents, it's a cantrip and a speed bump at worst.
Yeah, Joseph also has another Blood Sun. If we do see the Boseiju here, getting the Amulet off the field, very, very helpful to keep Damon from kind of like going some sort of enchantment removal spell like Boseiju or Force of Vigor into Big Threat. That's Prime Daddy.
Yeah.
So that is, Prime Daddy's in play.
You know where that version comes from? Is that a secret lair?
That is a secret lair.
That's generally when I don't recognize the art of a card at all, and it's not like borderless. I'm like, oh, that's probably a secret lair.
Yeah. So, Primetime gets a Valakut and a Simic Growth Chamber that have no text besides taps for red and taps for green blue.
All right, do we deploy the second Blood Sun here?
I think I would. What else is in hand?
I think I would play it because cantripping is good. I don't see any kind of removal for prime time. Is that right? And then also, I feel more likely Boseiju is a card that Damon is going to be leaning on than Force of Vigor.
That's brutal though, because like, so then we go Kihira into hand as well. Memory Deluge was the other possible play.
So you hope for deluging into white card Solitude?
Or yeah, probably got to be that. I mean, I guess if these survive and there's another Lotus Field in play next turn, you have enough mana at 9 to go Deluge into Hardcast Solitude, which does seem pretty good here. I mean, this is just all about whether Force of Vigor is a thing that Damon has. Because oftentimes the line would be Primetime attack, get Bounce Land, get Boseiju, clear whatever the thing is that you're worried about by bouncing the Boseiju. But of course, that mechanic doesn't work that way with a Blood Sun out.
Yeah, I mean, at some point in the relatively near future, i.e. the next 2 turns, Joseph is going to have to deal with it prime time. I think it's kind of funny. I think how these days in like modern, it's like, it's just a 6/6 with trample. Like it's that's no big deal. Which is somewhat true, but yeah, it does have to have an answer.
I think if I'm on Damon's side, I'm just getting all of the Valakuts out of my deck. Looks like we went for another Growth Chamber and a Forest here.
Right. Mana is not going to be a problem for Joseph.
Okay. Alternatively to Memory Deluge, could also Valakut Exploration, or Valakut Awakening, to shuffle a bunch of cards in. And this is where we see the awkwardness of having your companion sleeved in a different card sleeve. Okay. There's a plan for this.
Not Joseph's first rodeo.
This also gets 4 new cards, so technically seeing the same number of cards that we would see with the Deluge. And a Fury here is going to clear the Dryad and provide a blocker that would trade with the Primetime. Take a little bit of damage along the way, but that seems like well worth the trade if you're on Joseph's side. Again, most of Damon's deck is just turned off by the Blood Sun. The Grind Engine of Urza Saga, completely useless here. Literally just goes straight to the graveyard.
Well, Damon can play an extra land.
2 more.
2. There's only 1 more card in hand, so I was just... It could...
This is one of those moments where you wish you had Tireless Tracker available. Some way that's not totally turned off by Blood Sun to actually turn all these lands into extra cards. Even something like Cultivator Colossus. Although it can be tough to even get the lands in hand to make Cultivator Colossus useful.
I see Big Teferi, which Big Teferi has to be good if you have 2 Lotus Fields out.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is more. Joseph's about to just close this game out.
Big Teferi and Fury cards.
Yeah, unless Damon can hit something very impactful very soon, I think Joseph's stabilized at this point. Imagine we'll see Tef Daddy coming down here. Gonna hit ending off the top. Not really any juicy ending targets out there right now. Damon's still just hoping to draw that Force of Vigor. Joseph does not have counter magic in hand currently, so Damon is drawing live to be able to get back in this game. Flashback on Deluge is 7.
Damon probably thinking, is it worth attacking to lose your prime time? Are you attacking the Teferi? Feels like it's going to be hard to win if Teferi keeps on existing on the battlefield, but also Joseph is like at 12.
I mean, I think if you're trying to draw Force of Vigor, thinning your deck by a couple of lands seems like a good idea. I mean, you're not winning. If this game goes long, you're not winning if you're on Damon's side. So, yeah, gotta start making moves. Gotta take your low percentage chances where you got them.
But I mean, I guess if you're drawing to Force of Vigor, then attacking with the prime time is not where you want to be, right? Because you're gonna lose it with this attack. So then you have to have 2 draws, unless one of the cards in Damon's hand is another prime time or Summoner's Pact.
Yeah, it is interesting. I kind of had just assumed that Damon had gotten Talaria West on board, because I was thinking if Damon just had a bounce land that they were sandbagging in hand. They could easily just bounce a Talaria West and then go from that into another prime time.
Joseph has a grip of cards. A grip of cards and so much mana. Yeah, I guess you have to, if you cheer at us, we definitely switch to whatever hand cam you want. That's if you subscribe, you get us to run out and do a correction for a misplay or a rules violation on the table that then is embarrassing because it's not. That's the rules for chat today.
Oh boy. There's now 2 Solitudes in hand for Joseph.
2 Solitudes and 1 white card that's not a Solitude, maybe something else, I can't quite tell.
But you know what? There's something to be said for sheer number of lands in play. And Damon has that.
That's the sub game there.
This isn't like one of those Tron total victories where they leave you with no permanents. Although, you know, if Joseph really wanted to have fun, we'd see Teferi tick up to ultimate and then truly clear Damon's board.
I mean, that would be an interesting challenge. You have to draw a lot of, the deck can do it, but you'd have to draw a lot of cards.
Yeah, Valakut Awakening can do it pretty quickly.
I think that's at least 2 valid. Well, let's see, 6, 7, 8,
You're
9,
right.
10, 11.
But you know, you get most of the way there. Okay. Joseph's getting the game done. Makes sense.
2 cryptics up. I missed that card.
That's it. Jeskai Lotus takes down Amulet Titan. Seems. Is there a cam in the booth? Not today.
Soon. That's okay. We're almost at the 4 cams, and we would have been, except Ian forgot a tripod. So I'm gonna blame Ian.
That's right. How much for the booth cam? Yeah, quick to name some number of subscribers that we would never get to.
Chat asked how much of me assembling this deck is to cast Cryptic Command. I'm not gonna lie, I kept trying to throw Cryptic Command into like normal Jeskai control these days, and it's not good enough. Probably that was like over 60% of my motivation is being able to play Cryptic Command, because I also have the arena like player rewards promo versions that are text lists, and that's one of my favorite cards, which I think would be even more rewarding these days, where people started playing Magic in the past like year or two. They might not know what Cryptic Command's modes are. It was always fun to play that card against opponents, and you're like,